Alaska, the last frontier. A land defined by extremes, raw, wild, and powerful. Where the mountains meet the sea and the forces of nature remind us what real value means. For generations, Alaskans have lived with resilience, carving a life from the elements, relying on independence, hard work, and community. That same spirit is now guiding a new frontier, a digital one. Here, innovation meets energy. The power beneath our feet and the freedom within our hands converge into something bigger, a movement towards sovereignty, transparency, and truth. This is where technology aligns with nature, where human potential meets untapped energy, and where the future of money takes root, not in boardrooms, but in the heart of the frontier. Sovereign people, sovereign energy, sovereign money. This is Bitcoin Alaska.
Alaska has more stranded energy than any other state in the country. We're unable to fully fund our permanent fund. We're unable to fully fund a lot of different things, education. And it doesn't make any sense. With the amount of stranded energy we have and the ability to mine Bitcoin, we could actually pay a full permanent fund, full PFD to every Alaska resident, at the same time, fully fund our state government. But there's something that's blocking people from understanding what Bitcoin is I see it as kind of tragic. And the fact that we could actually fully fund state government and fully fund our permanent fund, yet we're not, because people have read a Wall Street Journal article or heard something on the news that gave them a bad taste in their mouth. We're talking about fully funding retirements, fully funding jobs throughout the state. Yet we're not doing that. I don't understand why. So for me, the conference was about education and hoping that we could break down those barriers and let people know that, no, this is a good thing for humanity. This is a good thing for the state. Why are we doing it?
Somebody's falling way behind, especially if they start wandering off in the woods because they're delirious from all the running. Somebody just kind of hang back with them and look out for each other, if you would, please. All right. But let's have a good time. Let's be safe.
Bitcoin Alaska, when we first started Tuesday morning with a polar bear plunge. We met out at the Glacier, ran out to Nugget Falls. Everybody dipped in. It was an amazing event. Mile run followed by jumping in ice cold water, and when you came out, your heart was racing, your temperature went up.
I always want to do a polar plunge, but I can't think of a better place to do it than Alaska and here at the Bitcoin conference.
If you just run a mile, jump in glacier water, start your day like that, how can you fucking lose?
And then we had the Paladin Tower Tactics, gave us firearms training, which was more of an education on firearms and situational event training rather than a live fire event, which was so much more valuable than a live fire event, in my opinion. That Paladin Tower Tactics and Scott Willey did an amazing job teaching that.
When I'm pumping gas, I always tell my wife, hey, head on a swivel. Make sure that you're looking. While I'm pumping gas, you should be observing.
You know, this is like almost the anti-Vegas, you know? This is somewhere you bring the family. This is somewhere where the kids are gonna have just as good a time. Dude, my kids, like, you know, lukewarm, they kind of understand Bitcoin, but they wouldn't be going to a conference, yeah? But, you know, they love the cruise. They loved, you know, going out and seeing all of Alaska. we had a wildlife count, and it was like, we saw 4 bears, we saw a bunch of sea lions, we saw 2 whales, and we lost track on bald eagles, man. Just like everywhere you go, there's a bald eagle. Like when the sun came out, it was like every single tree on the top, there was a bald eagle. So it was wild.
After piloting and tower tactics, firearms training, we all went our separate ways, woke up the next morning, and we met down at Auk Bay, Saddle Harbor. Jay-Z had the Raven canoe out there at the dock. A bunch of people paddled that canoe over to Auk while we drove over to Auk and set up for the picnic. Firewood out there, fire all day. Tongbei cooked up lamb chops and roasted some pineapple on the grill. That was amazing. But it was an all-day picnic, and then once that was over, we went over to Squire's Rest and had karaoke that evening.
Favorite part, probably, honestly, just how involved everybody was. I feel like all of the speakers that we brought up, they were just so invested in it, and everybody was so willing to go out and do satellite events and just be involved in all of it. It wasn't really any particular event, it was just the people that we brought. They're genuinely good humans, which I feel like is how most of the Bitcoin community is, and so it was just really cool to kind of see everybody interacting and giving back to Bitcoin Alaska and the community here.
Hurry, anytime you need, I'll be there if you just reach out.
So you have these people that you spend a lot of time watching their content, and you kind of idolize them, and then they show up at the picnic, your first time seeing them, and you've got the truck pulled up, and next thing you know, Rustin's in the back of the truck with Murph, and they're throwing the logs down the hill. It's just, all of a sudden they're human. That was amazing to me to meet these people and to interact with them on a, hey, let's go start a fire level. It was really cool.
I'm with you up any hill you climb. I'll be there in a hurry, anytime you need. I'll be there if you just reach out.
The whale watching. Who went on the whale watching cruise? Man, was that something? This has been an amazingly planned out week. So thank you for making this an experience. Thank you for making this much more than just a conference, because that's what it is. And I think the reality is that's what it takes. That's what it takes. It takes more than just conferences. It takes this. When we ask ourselves these questions that I believe brought a lot of us to Bitcoin, the question of what does it take? What does it take for us to change things in the world? What does it take for us to address the problems that we see? What does it take for us to transform the situation that so many of us inherited to be sure that our children don't inherit the same problems that we're navigating? What does it take for us to make things better? The longer we're involved in Bitcoin, the more we realize this isn't just about money. We're not here just to trade and to get rich and do all those things. We're here to create a world where all people are more free, where our children can have greater opportunities, where they can opt out of a system that we know is corrupt, where they can choose the life that they're going to have, where they can choose how they're going to spend their most valuable asset, their time, to make a contribution in this world that will create more freedom for more people. What does it take? Well, many times it's going to take one person, one spark to have an idea. One person to have that idea to, you know what? I'm going to bring a whole bunch of people up to Juneau, Alaska, make them jump in a frozen pond, let them go canoeing everywhere, get chased by bears maybe, and go someplace where they've never been in their entire lives just to connect with people that all ask those questions. That question of, what does it take? Well, I'm going to tell you, that's what it takes. It takes a person like anyone in this room to have that motivation, to have that spark go off, that's going to inspire them to do something about it. Now, we know enough Bitcoiners to realize that we are some action-oriented people, right? It's about proof of work. Doers. I mean, we are doing things. We are building things. So many people in this room are builders. We're not the kind of people that sit back and let things happen. We're the kind of people that pick up and go to Alaska for a week and hang out with a bunch of other people that are building things. People that we may not have ever met. People that might be like our internet famous people that we're watching and we're tracking and all that. And I tell you what, and I think we can all agree, Bitcoiners are always better in person.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin mining certainly for my home state here in Alaska, it's an untapped opportunity. A lot of folks don't realize we have more estimated undiscovered oil and gas resources in Alaska than any other state in the country. A lot of that natural gas, clean burning natural gas, it's a fantastic resource, but it's stranded on our north slope. So here's a picture of Alaska. This is the north slope of Alaska. Up here, we've got about 35 trillion cubic feet of natural gas that we know about today, but the USGS estimates that number is actually more like 250 trillion cubic feet of natural gas once we open up that area for exploration. And so tremendous resource, but we have no way to get to it. There's no pipeline that takes that natural gas down currently and allows us to sell it to the world. And Bitcoin mining is a tremendous opportunity for our state to monetize that resource. One of the great things about Alaska as well, it's cold. This is a cold place. And so, you see Bitcoin mining rigs popping up in places like Texas, but you've got to cool those off. Here, you don't need to cool nearly as much or at all in some places in certain times of the year. And so that gives us a natural cost advantage. So when you look at energy, when you look at just the climate in general, Alaska is a perfect place for Bitcoin mining.
Alaska has all of the energy we need. We actually currently produce more thermal energy per capita than anywhere else in the world, but we export it. How do we find a way to use this for ourselves? When you talk about natural gas on the North Slope, there's 200 trillion cubic feet of technically recoverable. If you look at advancements in drilling technology, what that looks towards, USGS thinks there might be another 590 trillion cubic feet. There is so much available energy that across Alaska in all of these capacities, we have to find a way to start utilizing it locally.
Yeah.
And this is where, what I love about the Bitcoin mining and other aspects is you can take stranded energy assets. You can put this out there and actually generate income that stays in state. You're using this energy in Alaska, you're actually putting that forward, this Bitcoin mining, and you're creating highly technical, highly skilled, lucrative jobs that stay in Alaska.
I'd love to see the permanent fund be able to invest in Bitcoin. And it's the most challenging. I understand it's the most challenging. Everybody I've spoken to who works in policy has expressed that they just can't do that. You have to have something, they're going to have legislation, change some rules to make that happen. But I want to make sure that conversation's being had now rather than in 10 years and come back and say, well, we should have. We fund the permanent fund through revenues earned from resources. Why don't we take a percentage of those resources rather than going to, those resources that are used for Bitcoin mining and allocate those funds back to the permanent fund and allocate those funds. And you can either keep the Bitcoin that's mined or have them allocate some funds to Bitcoin to pay for state services. To me, that's a no-brainer. To everybody else, it's, they just don't understand what money is. One of the difficulties here in Alaska is the Jones Act. If you take natural gas on the North Slope and you were to transport it to another part of the state, you're not allowed to transport it directly to another part of the state via shipping, which means that we have to ship anything anywhere without taking that vessel, importing in a foreign nation or else it has to be a U.S. built, U.S. flagged ship. And this is a federal law, so we can't get around it. So we end up having to take that ship, dock in Canada or another nation, and then bring it back up to Alaska, which is ridiculous because we're just burning more fuel to make that happen. Down here in Southeast Alaska, it's mostly hydro. You get up in the interior, there's a lot of opportunities for geothermal. And then up in the North Slope, we've been capping the oil wells since '82, I believe. And since we're capping the wells, we have to maintain those capped wells. And if we were to be able to utilize the gas that's in those capped wells, my research came up with the amount that exists there now, which is less than what actually exists, is 30 petawatts of energy. So if you want to Google how many zeros that is, that's a lot of zeros. It could fund the state for a very long time.
Sovereignty is so important to me, and I think it's important to the entire American ideal. This idea that you don't belong to your government belongs to you. And I think we've really lost sight of that in recent years in our nation. And so Bitcoin, what it does, to really answer your question, we have to start at the foundational level. It separates money from state and restores a lot of sovereignty to the individual. One of the things that really makes Alaska unique among other states in our country is that we have a sovereign wealth fund. And so we have no state income tax and we have no sales tax. And the reason we don't have those taxes is because most of our government today is funded by an investment account that originally started with resources, right? Resource revenues that came in from oil and gas royalties. We put a portion of those aside so that it would grow in an investment account and help to fund government. And I think Bitcoin, when you think about the Bitcoin that is yielded from the mining activity, that is another form of dividend from the resource work that happens in our state. We've achieved a great deal of sovereignty as a state relative to other states in the country by thinking about money and investing in energy and production differently than other states have. And so I think this is an extension of what Alaska has already done successfully, continuing to utilize the resources of our state to benefit the entire population of Alaska, and doing so in a way that allows us to monetize the energy resources of our state and some of the comparative advantages that we have, but also to restore sovereignty to the individual so that they can keep more of what they earn.
We need to actually start actively addressing this now. We need to actively move forward as to what does our tax regime look like in order to make sure that we're capturing this tendency, right? That's on this new side. How do we put Alaska forefront on this? We want to capture it. Texas right now is 40% of the Bitcoin world. We want to get some of that. This is multi-billions on an annual basis that we could bring to Alaska. We also have to figure out our regulatory sandbox and these policy calls that, in order to actually encourage companies to want to come up here to generate not only new jobs, but also this long-term culture and appeal of people that want to stay in Alaska and thrive in Alaska. We have everything available when it comes to the energy abundance, as well as even our climate, to offer to make this industry really grow and thrive in Alaska. So that is my appeal, is we need to start this process now to move forward, to capture this and make this a robust part of our future going forward.
I think this is really interesting to be sitting here today, because I remember in 2013 trying to convince everyone around me to start buying Bitcoin, and no one would do it. They thought I was nuts. They said, no way, this will never be anything. I even flew to New York to try to convince two friends that I had out there to leave their jobs. One was at Goldman, one was with a hedge fund, and work with me to start a Bitcoin fund. And they said, this would be the biggest career risk I could ever take. I won't do it. Why is Bitcoin valuable? It's valuable because it's scarce. And the world has needed a scarce store of value for a long time. Gold has been that thing for thousands of years, but it's hard to move around. You know, if I want to sell gold to somebody in Germany, how do I get it to them? How do they know that what I gave to them is pure, right? There's a whole lot of logistical effort that goes into it. And how do I securely store it? How do I physically store it? And so I think Bitcoin helps us to solve a lot of those things through technology, but it really is, it's the ultimate scarce resource. There is nothing else outside of things like Leonardo da Vinci paintings that are scarce, and you can't really split those into 1,000 pieces. So it's a unique technology. I think it belongs as part of our national balance sheet. and I'm working to try to make that happen.
So if you're going to come to a conference, you can go to any conference and learn about Bitcoin. That's fine. Go to any conference. But if you want to go to a conference and interact with the people who are, with the content creators and the leaders in the industries, this is the place to go. Next year, it's going to be some of the same. We're going to have the Polar Bear Plunge. We're going to have the conference. We might bring up some professional music. We're not going to do the Tracy Arm Cruise. We're probably going to do Huna, ride the bulls along the zip line, see some of the biggest bears on the planet, watch them feed for salmon, and do family events again. A lot of human interaction, a lot of opportunities to have real down-to-earth conversation with these people who are considered the leaders in the industry. Learn about Bitcoin mining, cold storage, self-custody, how to send, receive Bitcoin, how to do your taxes. At the same time, bring your family, do the local events. If you want to go to Vegas, that's fine. If you want to go to Miami or Nashville, that's great. But if you actually want to have a family event, bring your family, do things that are fun, see Alaska. At the same time, you're getting the Bitcoin conference. This is the place you should come, not a big city. This isn't about going to bars. This is about spending time with family, seeing nature, and just interacting with the world. Thank you for watching our documentary of Bitcoin Alaska 2025. It was an absolutely incredible experience, and I'm glad we got to share this with you. I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude to everyone who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring Bitcoin Alaska to life. To Rick Montani and Ashlyn Espinoza, thank you for helping transform a simple dream into a living reality. This conference would not have happened without your dedication and belief. To Sunny and Northern State Media for your creative excellence in building our website and media presence. To Stacy Boyle for leading our incredible volunteer crew with heart and precision. To Amma Curry and Elise Kawaiwahine for your invaluable local support and warm hospitality that made our guests feel at home. To Jim Zeller, Yaro Vera, and the One People Canoe Society for honoring us with the traditional Native Alaska canoe experience, a profound moment that grounded our event in local culture and respect. To Squire's Rest for opening your stage and giving us a memorable night of laughter, karaoke, and community. To Adlersheim Lodge for welcoming so many of our guests and providing an incredible atmosphere they will not soon forget. To Scott Willey with Paladin Tower Tactics for delivering an unforgettable world-class firearms training experience. To Devin Stickler and KINY Radio for helping us share our message across Alaska. To Alan Marine and their remarkable crew for an unforgettable journey through the Tracy Arm Fjord, a breathtaking highlight of our week. And finally to our sponsors, whose support, vision, and faith made all of this possible. Thank you for believing in the mission of Bitcoin Alaska. This year we focused on how Bitcoin can monetize Alaska's stranded energy for the good of our state. Next year, we explore how artificial intelligence can do the same, transforming energy into value for all of mankind. Join us at Bitcoin Alaska 2026, Bitcoin and AI. Learn more at bitcoinalaska.org.